On the road again. Hi, all. Welcome to the show, which at this point is Spirit, Purpose, and Energy, Fit to Love, and Women, Men, and Relationships. I'm JJ Flazanes.
Did you just make another Willie Nelson reference? Is that correct?
It is.
Gosh, okay. Well, then I still am Doug Sandler, and welcome to the show. We're looking forward to you hear the road. I feel like we're on the open road once again. We spend more time on the road recently than we actually spend at our house, which is not fun right now.
Nope. Looking forward to that changing, but we are on the road to home. Is there a song about that, On the Road to Home?
Probably.
Yeah, I just don't know what it is. Anyway, looking forward to seeing the cats. Want to give a shout out to Michael Neely and his Your Authority Blueprint Live workshop and event that we were at this week, which was great. I'm going to shout out to Orit Levy for
the avocado
and for good conversation and being pals in the workshop. And a shout out to anyone else who's listening who's there that I don't know about that now you might be listening to the show. So for those of you that have heard the last couple of weeks, it's been an interesting time with iTunes. Spirit, Purpose, and Energy and Fit to Love both came down because of a swear word in someone's bio from last year. And you're allowed to cuss on your show as long as you mark it explicit, but you can't have anything written that gets into the feed.
Why? Because little Johnny has never seen the word shit? I mean, what the hell?
Not my rules, and I do appreciate that both shows are back up again. They're all
iTunes
currently back up.
Fucking sucks. All right, there you go.
So if you use iTunes, what I would really love and appreciate if you guys have only just recently started listening to the show, or if you've been listening for a while but you're looking for something else to kind of dig your teeth into and it's been a while and you want a refresher, what's called the back catalog, everything prior to today's show, especially the beginning. If you haven't heard episode 0, I talk about the difference between spirituality and religion and sort of why I even started the show. And we've got shows on depression and addiction and emotional cord cutting.
You know what my favorite episode is, though?
Which one?
That would be episode 55 on Women, Men, and Relationships.
The one where I introduced you as a new co-host?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, of course. But for Spirit, Purpose, Energy, if you would be so kind as to help me out, you can even delete them. Just download them and then delete them. Go back to episode 0 and get some of that back catalog stuff, those episodes, and help my rankings, because that's what really kind of killed me when they took me down, was that I went from the top 200 to nowhere to be found. So
Oops.
Would love the support on that, guys. And again, you don't have to keep them. Just download them and then delete them in case you heard them and you don't want to listen to them again. I totally get it. So we are going to do a Q&A show today, because when we did the last Q&A show...
When we were on the road before?
No, we weren't on the road.
Were we in bed when we did that one?
No, we were on the couch.
Wow. Okay, this was a couch cast.
Right, it was before we went away for my birthday.
Okay, I got it.
I was feeling a little like I needed some inspiration. The topic, I'm like, what are we going to talk about? There are a lot of topics, but sometimes you're just not feeling in alignment with it. So I asked the community in the Manifestation Challenge what they wanted to know about in terms of relationships, dating, sex, whatever. And we've got some great questions, and we answered 3 or 4 of them. But, of course, because I asked quickly and then we recorded quickly, there were other questions that came in after that. So I wanted to address some of those. I'm going to read just the first entry, meaning if there was a thread and other people were talking back and forth. I'm not going to read the whole thread. And I do believe this first one I'm going to read, I want to acknowledge Deanna, but I don't know if this is a question. So if I read it and don't think it's a question, I'm going to move on to the next question because there's a bunch of them. Deanna says, I wanted to say thank you, JJ, for introducing me to the Imago technique. I've started to use it in my relationship, and it has helped greatly. I'm currently reading Getting the Love You Want for the second time. Thank you so much for the content you put out. The only suggestion I have for a topic is how to live with someone who is a constant worrier, who struggles with anxiety and self-doubt. My significant other knows he has these issues and still struggles. It puts stress on our relationship. I have been using the Imago technique when I talk to him, and it has helped me to not get so emotional when I talk to him. Thank you. The question in there is how to live with someone who is a constant worrier. So here's what I have to say about that. Deanna, the Imago technique is about your lessons of attracting him. How can we all allow others to be who they are, where they are, and how they are, without it affecting you emotionally.
So let me just make sure I have this correct. So what you're saying is, if there's someone that is connected to you, that you love and you live with, let's say, how can you let them worry, let them have anxiety, let them do the things, accept them for where they are, let them share the stories without you, quote unquote, interfering?
Yes.
Okay, got it. I just want to make sure that I understood it and that the community that's listening understands that too.
Because if the conversation sounds like you have anxiety and it affects our relationship, then that's you being a victim to that person's anxiety. That is your triggers coming up because of their anxiety, which isn't because of them, because your triggers are what's inside of you already, and their anxiety is agitating those. So it looks like it's like they're the instigator, because they're the ones, even if they clearly say I have anxiety, how you respond to their anxiety is what's going on inside of you.
Okay, so how do you respond? Maybe you're getting there and I'm just not waiting for the answer, but how do you respond to someone that has anxiety and worry? Someone that says, I'm worried that when I go out that I'm going to miss a really important call and I'm going to lose that sale because, I'm not home at the office to answer the call or whatever.
Okay, a lot of you are not going to like this answer. But here's how it has to start, in my opinion. In the case and the example that you just set up, let's use you and I as an example. And you say, I don't want to go this weekend because I'm afraid I'm going to miss this call or something.
miss bid. I'm going to miss an opportunity. I don't want to go this weekend because I'm worried that this is a really important weekend for me. I'm going to miss potential business, and I can't be doing business if I'm with Bonnie and Michael, and when I'm at the Authority Blueprint, and I'm all worried that I'm going to lose business because I'm going away.
Okay. So, again, not ideal, but this is the reality. You can say, okay, well then you can stay home and I'm going to go without you.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep. That makes sense.
If this is something I would like to do, and let's say it's not the current situation that we were just in, because obviously you and I were invited together to Bonnie and Michael's.
Right.
But let's say it was just like a wine tasting weekend or something, and
Right.
you were so worried. I would say, great. And I would say that I'm going to call one of my friends and see if they want to go with me. Who in my community would like to go with me wine tasting and to do this other event with me if you are unavailable?
Okay, so let me understand this. It sounds like you're enabling the worry by saying that. It sounds like you're saying, hey, I respect the fact that you're going to worry about it, and if you decide that you don't want to go, I'm going to go with somebody else to do the wine tasting. I couldn't possibly ask you to stay home also, so you're going to take somebody else. Now, doesn't that mean that you're kind of like enabling the
No, not at all.
Okay.
If you do not have the skills to coach or therapy another person who's that close to you into understanding why their worry may actually backfire against them in the manifestation world and in that phone call happening, or trying to convince them of something they're not ready to be convinced about in any other way, which most of you don't. And most of us don't. When you're in the situation, you're the person, it's really hard because you have to deal with your own stuff for you to sort of rise above. That's why I always appreciated when in my last relationship, if there was an issue with an outside person, I became like the best confidant because it wasn't about me. So all of a sudden I got to use all my skills to show, how the emotional situation was, and to ask the right questions and to have aha moments because it wasn't directed at me and he wasn't being triggered by me. So in this case, where you're attached to going on a trip and the other person doesn't want to go, you have to allow them their process. And in Al-Anon and in a lot of the recovery programs, it's called loving detachment, or detaching lovingly. You can rationalize with someone. You can make agreements. If it's something in a relationship where they're never coming with you, then of course that's an issue. To be able to say, you know what, I would like for us to enjoy time together. How can we do it? And then you problem solve together. But when you decide that the other person's anxiety is the reason why your relationship isn't working, there's something we're missing about what you're bringing to the table in terms of a wound that you have or why the anxiety is triggering you. Have you ever, this happens to me all the time, or at least it used to, when I was more focused on just the fitness side or the anti-aging side. I would see somebody walking down the street or an older person bent over with a cane who could barely stand up straight. And the second I see that, I stand up straight. What I would love for you all to practice is the minute you're around someone in scarcity or someone with anxiety, for you to dig your energetic heels in and breathe into trust. Do the exact opposite of what you know they're not doing. Be thankful and grateful that you can tell the difference between someone who's in fear and lack of trust, and reminding yourself that you are someone who does trust.
Okay, so could you possibly say to that spouse, I love you, I respect the fact that you want to worry about this, but this is not my worry to deal with, so you have a choice to make. You can either go with me and not complain about it, or you can stay here and I'm going to replace you on the trip.
You can, but what I'm suggesting is that you do this inner work first, because when you speak to the spouse or to the significant other with any bit of worry or your own nervousness or your own lack of freedom, because you're going to feel like all of a sudden now you have to make new plans and that they're disrupting your joy and your freedom. If you go into it with that energy, it's going to become a fight. You have to do your own energetic, mental, emotional work and making peace with it before you have that conversation. Okay? So, okay, let me just read this again. So, self-doubt. All right, now when it comes to self-doubt, here's where you can be helpful. I'm not sure if your significant other's love language is words of affirmation, but you can try words of affirmation in terms of acknowledging what is working and seeing if you can't start to be that voice that plants those seeds in that subconscious. So there's a little bit less self-doubt and there's a different tape that starts to play in their subconscious mind. One more thing about the self-doubt. You can't really give somebody confidence. It is an inside job. However, you can start to create an environment of affirmation and affirming, which helps them to feel a little bit better because they're being acknowledged and validated in some ways. And to just be gentle when it comes to some of the other, if there's any kind of criticism. There may be questions that you could learn to ask to help uncover areas where they might want to go get some help with that.
I love that you said that confidence is an inside job, but it certainly is encouraging for you to encourage someone to help do the inner work themselves. The outside work that you can provide for them sometimes is all the jump start that they're going to need in order to do the inside job.
Yeah. You want to be loving and supportive, but at the same time, no amount of compliments, no amount of outside praise is going to give someone inner confidence until they do the work. Okay, the next question was from Desiree, and she said, what does it mean when I had 3 traumatic dreams in a row? First, my dad died and I had to make the decision. And second, my dog was ran over, and third, caught my husband cheating, which ended up him wanting a divorce.
Wow. So you lost your parent, you lost your pet, and you lost your spouse. Those are horrible things. I hope that's not actually what happened.
So obviously, Desiree, you're feeling a lack of good foundation and fear right now about something, or you were. What does it mean? I am not a dream interpreter. Kelly Sullivan Walden, who I've had on the show twice. I'm not sure if I've republished those here. I think I have, actually. And if I have, please go back and try to find them. There's 2 shows. They're definitely on Fit to Love. It's now called the Fit to Love podcast with JJ Flazanes. That is the new title for the main Fit to Love show. But if you can't find them, let me know. I will. I think they're on this channel as well, Spirit, Purpose, and Energy. Women, Men, and Relationships, they're definitely not there. So Kelly will talk about dream interpreting, but if my first gut response to your dreams were that you're feeling really like you're questioning your safety in this world and the things that you're attached to and the things that are most important to you and maybe feeling a lack of foundation, maybe not feeling safe in some way.
Notice she didn't say that she was losing her job or her car got towed or anything like that. Here's what I think you should do. Get a new job and get a new car.
And nothing to do with a car.
I know. I'm saying that those are things that she wasn't dreaming about. So those are the things that she could probably do better. No, don't replace your dad. Don't replace your dog. And certainly, by all means, keep your husband, please. Unless you want somebody else to have him, and then do something else.
Hopefully, because it's been a couple of weeks, right, since we recorded the show, and since you asked this question, maybe Desiree, come on back to this post on the Manifestation Challenge and let us know if anything else has happened since you wrote this. But maybe it's a great time to remind yourself to have the conversation with your father about how much you love him, and have any conversations that are outstanding that need to be said. Maybe you're holding on to something that you want to express that maybe you haven't yet, and you don't know when there's a good time, and maybe now's a good time. And same thing with your husband, and spend some more time with your dog. I mean, that's, if nothing else, forcing somebody or encouraging somebody to spend more quality time, to be more expressive, to share more of your thoughts and positive feelings with someone else. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe is it Kelly? Is that her name?
Desiree.
Desiree. Maybe Desiree is a person in need of quality time, and that was a wake-up call that it's time to spend some more quality time with those things that are most important to you in your life: your father, your husband, and your dog. And maybe those three are just symbolic of all things that are important to you, and that's what your subconscious used as a leverage for you to spend quality time with all of those things important. And that thing it might be you. It might just be spend more quality time doing the things that you enjoy doing the most. Have you spent enough time going to the gym? Are you doing some healthy cooking? Are you getting some you time? Are you going to a spa? Are you getting a massage? That could be another signal for just quality time with yourself as well.
And if your dog is a male, it might be something to do with men, since it's your dad, your husband, and I'm not sure if your dog is a male or female. But anyway, those are some ideas that we have.
And if you did have to get rid of one of them, I would choose the husband.
Don't get rid of any of them.
Just kidding.
Doug's trying to be funny in a very serious situation.
I felt like she needed a little bit of levity in this situation.
Okay. All right, the next one comes from Leslie. Leslie says, hello. Yesterday I received a reading where I was told a breakup was going to happen soon and fast. She seemed very confident that this was going to happen and wasn't flexible when it came to interpretation, meaning it was a breakup with my significant other versus a friend or family member. She also told me she felt like crying for me. I'm having a hard time focusing now on my relationship and want to know how to trust what you've heard or not trust. After my reading, I thought, wait, what if the words soon and fast meant something tragic, like dying, which you've told me? I think I'm trying to interpret the reading too much. I'm not the type of person that dwells on death, so I was surprised when that thought popped into my head. Thank you.
Wow. Well, now that we're 2 weeks beyond the post, I'm really curious what it was. Soon and fast. Soon and fast from a timeline perspective, could mean millions of years. I mean, the world has been around for billions of years. So I don't know. What does soon and fast mean? And has something happened soon and fast in your world?
I want to read the comment underneath there before I respond. Johanna says, all I can say is sorry for such a reading. I feel a card reader would not have such a manner and so matter of fact. Is this someone you trust? Have you seen this person before? Sometimes readings can get in our heads and none of it's true or is true in another way. Like a breakup with a fruit. Suddenly you're not able to eat it anymore. Just another perspective. I have my cards read and I read cards, and reading what you wrote made me wonder if the person is someone you go to often and trust. There are readers and light workers that interpret things incorrectly or that are just not really doing it for the right reasons. So I'm going to say, Leslie, that I agree with Johanna, and that it's funny. I know a lot of healers and psychic people, and I believe that we all have the ability to interpret things. And I also believe that our ability to tap into things is based on our own frequency. So if you've got a light worker or someone who's reading cards who is in a lower frequency than you are, they're picking up on some of the negative possibilities that might or may not be possible for you. In fact, I had a healer once who worked on my mom in a massage, and she had such bad energy and my mother's pretty, like, she's worried about stuff, but she's got pretty good energy otherwise. Like, she otherwise is like, positive and supportive, and her biggest thing is being worried, but she's generally like very loving and open, even though she might be fearful of things. And this woman had kind of negative energy, and we felt it, and I felt it too. So this is where there's a balance between, and I really should use myself as an example. I work with someone who I don't trust completely when it comes to my own therapy. I trust her in other ways, but I don't. But when it comes to speaking and being seen, I guess, I've tried certain people. There have been people on the show that I've worked with who I also got to the place where their ego, their issues came out more than they needed to, which like rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah, thanks.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I totally know you're talking about.
And I tried, and I actually had to therapy myself during sessions to recognize where they were getting triggered, either by me or whatever, maybe their insecurities of something or other. But I could tell when it wasn't about me anymore, even though I'm the one under the gun. I'm the one under the light, if you will, being therapied and being the one who needs to be vulnerable. So this has to come down to take it or leave it, check in with whether it resonates with you. And if you're someone who is easily scared, then I would say that's probably not a good thing, right? If somebody says something to me about my, a prediction of some kind, and it doesn't resonate with me, I've had hypnotherapists in the past say, well, you do this because of this reason. And I'll like try it on, and I'll sit with it for a minute, and I'll go, no, that's not why I do it. And they're like, yeah, you do it because blah, 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 blah. And then I try it on again, and then I go, nope, that's not why I do it. And then now we're talking about when I was like 25. So I have since learned how to articulate and really hone in on why I do everything I do. So back then I did figure it out pretty quickly after that session. And I said, no, I think it's this, this, and this. And then she went, okay. So being able to gauge yourself and to know that not everyone is going to be able to give you information that is in alignment with where you are. And maybe there's something that she said that was supposed to move you in a different direction. Not that you were supposed to break up with your partner, but maybe it was to be aware, to start to maybe be a little bit more discerning of who you see and what that means for you in terms of getting someone to read for you. So, definitely come back in, Leslie, and let us know what happened. Come back into the group, into that post, and reply, please. Okay, the next one's from Simran, S-I-M-R-A-N, Simran. Sorry, Simran, I know you've written to me too before. I just not sure how to pronounce your name. So she says, what steps to take in order to be okay to be alone sometimes, or getting away from the lonely feeling that makes us sometimes make bad decisions in our love life? So I know I've talked about this on many shows. It is episode 118, the 3 steps to effective communication on the Fit to Love podcast with JJ Flizanes, because it is the work of the nonviolent communication. It's being able to see what your feelings and your needs are, so that way the bad decision isn't a bad decision, it's a specific decision. It's being able to say, rather than eat myself silly tonight because I'm bored, lonely, and anxious and feeling needy, to be able to say, what is it I'm really looking for? I'm looking for connection. I'm looking for companionship. So rather than going to the grocery store or pulling out the ice cream in the freezer, picking up the phone and seeing if one of your friends is available to hang out with, to have a glass of wine, or to go on a walk, or to, pull some cards, or to go see a movie. So I think a lot of the times that we make bad decisions is because we're not actually checking in with where we are and what we really need. We're just acting based on negative feelings, and then we're doing whatever numbs us the fastest.
Can I add this, though?
Yeah.
I think that one of those activities that you said, and again, I know this is a little bit more woo, but a lot in our community probably are that way. Thank you, JJ. But the pulling of the cards thing, I mean, that is oftentimes such a great thing to do. Pulling cards, reading a positive message, reading positive affirmations, watching a comedy, having uplifting conversation. I would even say at that point, avoiding alcohol, avoiding downers, avoiding anything that that is detrimental to positivity, because I think when you're having those sad thoughts or you're having those lonely feelings, I think feeding into them is, you're watching even a rom-com can sometimes be challenging because you're looking at all of the negativity. The guy that's sitting on the sofa because he's been, he lost his partner 3 years ago and he can't seem to get his fucking ass off of the couch. So all of those things, I love the pulling cards thing though, because you can always, through card pulling, it's never going to end up being this doom and gloom. All the things that are in there are up for interpretation. So I just want to throw that in there.
And it's appropriate based on your astrology and psychology. And I am agreeing with you 50% of the time. 50% of the time, those of you that are uncomfortable being uncomfortable need to be uncomfortable. And you need to cry. And you need to sit in it. And you need to let it out. And you need to find it and let it out. And then the other 50% of you who are used to sitting in it need to do something different, because you have to assess whether or not this is about a release or this is about a swirling and being inside of a tornado of emotion that never goes anywhere.
Yeah, let it go. I mean, if you find that there's emotion, if there's a surge of emotion that's behind this, definitely let it go. Empty out. Definitely empty out. And if that means having a conversation, a glass of wine, yes, empty it out. If it's chronic, if it's something that occurs a lot, there's a bigger issue, and you need to get yourself out of it. That I don't think a cry is going to do it for you in this case, or even a circle.
Well, and this is a show that I'll record. It'll probably be a solo show, but maybe not. Maybe I'll ask you to do it with me about something that happened.
I might accept.
On the way, you might accept.
I haven't seen the contract yet, so I don't know how much money is involved. You know me, tied to that bottom line.
Okay, baby. I can do it without you.
Wow.
I can.
Well, I mean, that quickly the negotiation is over?
If you're going to put contracts in front of me,
Jeez.
yeah.
All right, I'll
as
do it with you.
I'll
do it with you. Be quiet.
On the way up to the Russian River Valley in Sonoma, I had a breakdown. And it came out of sort of left field, and it wasn't really left field. It came out of my subconscious. But I want to talk about the difference, we're not doing it today, between intellectual processing and emotional processing. So, Simran, get the needs and feelings list, please, and go to episode 118. Find it on fit2love.tv. That's FIT, the number 2, LOVE.tv. Episode 118. Download the needs and feelings list. Listen to that show. And everyone, when you're having a feeling, I want you to express it and experience it, but I also want you to understand what it is, where it comes from, and why you're having it. So if it is a need that keeps coming up over and over and over again, and you keep ignoring it, and you don't figure out what the need is, then you're going to do this cycle over and over again. Please figure out what the need is and get it met, because there are very simple solutions to some of the problems that you've been having that you don't need to keep suffering. All right? And for some of you, it's companionship and connection. And while you can't force someone to date you, you have friends. You have family. And if you don't have friends, you need to make some. So I'm going to tell you to go join a meetup group and go find a group of people. I mean, that's why I started the show. That's why I have the event. That's why I have the challenge. And, getting to know people in person, having that connection, it's really important.
Are you telling me I need to get out of the house more often?
If that is how you want to interpret that, I will accept.
Uh-oh. I think JJ just kicked me out on Tuesdays, Fridays, and Wednesdays, every alternating Wednesday.
Yeah, let's wait till you're in town long enough to,
right.
make a friend. Okay, next question comes from Kat. Kat says, how and where do we meet people in person? LOL.
Oh, this is funny.
For those of us who dislike online dating. So, Kat, I would recommend that you look at the meetups for things that are interesting to you. I would not look at a dating meetup. I don't even know if they exist. But I would look at groups, whether it be meditation or hiking or cooking or wine drinking or, I don't know,
knitting. A wine drinking group. How cool would that be?
Wine tasting.
No, we just go right to the bottle. We go right to the box.
Okay. But I think meetup is a great place to find like-minded people interested in similar things. Doug and I met because we both are podcasters. We never would have met had we not been at a podcasting conference.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool because the first time I met her, I did not think that we actually would be friends because she was so smart, and I wasn't.
You're smart in other ways, babe.
I know much other ways. I'm very street smart.
Kat, that would be what I would do if I was single right now.
I have a knife and a gun in my pocket, just so you know.
What are you going to do with your knife and your gun?
I don't know.
You don't have
I got to return them to the toy store.
Exactly. The plastic section for the 5 and under. Okay. So, Kat, meet up. Other groups, again, yeah, just find things that you enjoy doing. I don't know if I'd go sit in a bar and like look around and wait, although it can happen there.
Oh, God, don't go to a bar to meet
But
a
I
guy.
wouldn't go looking. Go experience life and allow yourself to be attracted and allow yourself to be the beacon.
Unless, of course, you want to meet an alcoholic. Then a bar would be a perfect place to meet a guy, especially on a Tuesday afternoon at 1 p.m.
Okay, moving on to T. T says, I listened to the podcast and I love the feedback. Thank you, JJ and Doug. Off of what Doug said in my partner and his age, he was spot on, definitely stuck in his ways and stubborn. I know it had nothing to do with I'm not going to change as much as it has to do with his past and wounds. As we have been working through this amazing transition, it's allowed him to be more vulnerable too. You can tell he is slowly trusting me as well as that I'm here and I care for him. For that, like I said, he's just been so patient, loving, and open. It's so refreshing. Congratulations, T.
Okay, was there a question that you had in there?
We answered her question in the last show.
Okay. Well, it's something I was right. I would like to know what I was right about. Damn it was the first time.
About him being stuck in his ways and stubborn.
Oh, yeah. Us dudes, we're caught in our ways, especially ones that are older than 40. I mean, we until we meet someone like JJ that is just so rock solid in their beliefs, and if you are that way, that more power to you. But yeah, we're sometimes stuck in our ways. It requires us to go through some heartbreak or some extremes to shake us up a little bit. I've been shook up. I'm in love. Wait a minute, that's an Elvis song.
I'm all shook up. The only thing I'm going to say about stuck in your ways is to define sometimes what the words mean to everybody, like the phrases, because I had a friend years ago who called me opinionated. And she packaged it with with positive words. And when I heard opinionated, it kind of stung. And it was just stung a little bit. And I kind of let it go and I didn't say anything. And then it happened again. And I think I said something like, what do you mean when you say opinionated? And she goes, oh, no, I meant it in a positive way. And I let it go and I didn't say anything again. Third time it happened, I said, we're going to have a conversation. Very calmly, I said, we're going to have a conversation about this. You keep using this word. I have strong opinions. But I have strong opinions based on my education and my interest in understanding things to make an opinion in the first place. Opinionated actually means you're not open to anything else. And that isn't how I relate to myself. I am open to other things. I'm open to someone who has information, who can meet me where I am and have a great conversation about something and help me see another point of view, but has an educated point of view on it, not just someone, so the difference between words, opinionated was a little bit more closed-minded, and having strong opinions doesn't mean someone's closed-minded. So when we talk about and we label each other, just be careful to ask the other person what that means to them.
Okay, so part of this, though, is what sets up your trigger. So you obviously were triggered by this word opinionated or opinion or whatever word that you use. And we've talked about this before. It's almost like I'm expecting you not to care about and we call each other funny play names, and we don't have to share what these play names are right now on this episode. But at the same, and some of them are not politically correct sometimes, but you are always preaching the don't let words affect you. The words that the other people are saying, your opinion of me is none of my business. And I agree with you to a degree. But when you say that, sometimes I don't know that you 100% believe that yourself, because you get triggered.
Okay, I didn't tell you what I did with this conversation with this person. It's the energy, and I didn't get triggered. I felt like I didn't get unraveled any of the times. I just felt a little like it was energetically, that word was not the same as the other words were. Now, back at that time, that was almost 20 years ago now. And I am definitely in a much different place than I am now. And I didn't know the things then that I know now.
Well, how do you let or not let, based upon your position, how do you not let words affect you? Words.
Okay, you heal the reason why you were affected. So let me finish the story then
sure.
about what happened with this friend, who, by the way, we're no longer friends. But anyway, not because of this, but the first time it happened, it was a little bit of a ouch. The second time it happened, it was a little bit of an ouch. The third time it happened, I didn't even say ouch. I just was an observer, and I said, and I was laying in my bed on the phone with her. She was in her apartment, and I was very calm. And I said, we're going to have a conversation about this word. And she went, no, we're not. I'm sorry I said it. I didn't mean to say. I know you get so sensitive. And I said, Melissa, she doesn't listen to the show.
Okay.
So I was like, Melissa.
All right. Got it.
I go, I just want to know why you keep choosing this word, because it doesn't feel like the rest of the words. Like, I feel like you're trying to give me a compliment, then you stick this word in there, and it doesn't feel the same. So and she fought me hard. Talk about trigger. That triggered her into a whole, like, she's yelling at me. She starts talking about my car and about if I should be moving or not. Like, she brings all this stuff into this conversation. And mind you, I am calm and cool, laying in my bed, having this conversation. So after, I don't know how long it took to get her there. And again, for a 25-year-old, I was pretty skilled at really analyzing what was going on. I finally got her to admit that the opinionated part of me is a part she does not like. And I was totally fine with that. And I said, okay. I said, I understand. You are allowed to not like anything you want about me. I just don't want to know about it. Okay? You've told me this is a part of me you don't like, and we're done. So you don't have to bring it up again. So what I was feeling was her wanting to share with me the things she didn't like about me. And I was okay with that. I'm okay with that. We're going to do a whole show called Dear Haters, because I want to go over some of my personality traits that rub you the wrong way, people. Maybe not you guys, because you keep listening.
Oh, I want to have that conversation.
But I want to go through it, not because of it's about me, because what it means about you. Because your love language is words of affirmation, words hold a little higher. Although words affect my mother, too. It's really about your wounds. End of story. It's never about the other person. It's always about you. And I, again, was never unraveled by her calling me opinionated. I just didn't like it. And again, I felt like the rest of the words, she was trying to, like, give me positive affirmations. And
listen, JJ, I just need to get this off my chest. Like, as soon as somebody says that to you, that means, oh, shit, I'm about to hear a lot of wounds in this person's background.
Yeah, and all the things that they don't like about me. So I'm the punching bag for all the things that you want to keep running around ignoring, and you think it's about the other person. It's never about the other person. It's always about you. And if you don't like something about another person, if you're healed around it, it shouldn't trigger you. You could be like, okay, I don't care for that. But if it gets you all, like, hot and bothered in a bad way, you're agitated, you're all fearful, that's yours.
What's so amazing about that, I need to get this off my chest, and those weren't the exact words that several of my family members used when they found out that I moved to Los Angeles in the wake of my brother getting sick and eventually passing away, but me being by his side while he was when he died. The crazy part about it is both of those conversations that I had with my family members were totally based upon the wounds that they had in their past. And it is amazing how easy it is for me to see from this side of the relationship, and how they still don't see it. But it's not my business to point it out to them. That's not going to do me any good to point out their faults to them. You know, the expression is you can see the splinter in someone else's eye, but you can't see the forest in your own. It's like, it's amazing how truthful or how accurate that statement is about other people's wounds. When they start to express all of the shit that to you that they don't like about you, or that you should be behaving differently based upon their standards, they're just being the product of the wounds that they already have in their life.
So
Amen.
do you get now why when words affect you that it's not necessarily the other person?
Yeah, I understand it. It doesn't ease the blow that sometimes you get when someone is hurtful with their words at all. But yes, I can see. It's much easier for me to have a calm analysis in the wake of that storm than it is to try to navigate straight in the middle of it.
Okay, so then my question to you, Doug, and everyone listening, what happens when you get the mirror of those words wounded me? I must have a wound. What do I now do about it?
Well, then you have to. It's almost like, can we just pause for a second? I need to write this down. I want to write down how I'm feeling at this particular moment. I can recall in my relationship with my ex-wife that a number of times, and I wasn't conscious during this relationship, but at some point I was aware enough about my frustration and not my anger, because it was never turned. It wasn't anger. It was just frustration about the feelings that I would have. I would say, now is probably not a good time to have this conversation. I knew enough to say, I probably need to get out of this conversation right now.
Okay.
That's it. I just want to, not that I was able to solve the problem, but then I look back. You can look back a day later, a month later, a week later, an hour later, and you can say, oh my gosh, yes, I know that was really good that I got out of that. Now I take it one step further. It's, okay, I'm out of that. I wonder what caused that. Let's think about what wound there is in my past that I'm trying to heal. Is it abandonment? Is it despair? Is it loneliness? Is it boredom? What is that? What is it that I'm trying to heal?
And you're not gonna. I don't think we're like, here's 10 wounds and you're not going to be having a good life until you heal all of them. I don't want anyone to feel pressure that you have to heal every wound you think you may have. I think that it's that we're going to expand and move through life at the pace that's right for you. You will learn the lessons. The lessons will be repeated until they're learned. So take a look at what lessons are coming up for you and see if it's time for you to dive a little deeper into what that could mean. And at the same time, just know everyone's doing the best they can. So we're going to take it with a grain of salt. We have a whole bunch of tools in the toolbox. If you need some more, come on over. Let me know. I got a ton of them. And but at the same time, we want to balance out sort of the going backwards and healing some of the wounds with having a good time and focusing forward and changing the way that we look at things, taking things a little bit easier, knowing that you're never going to get it all done, knowing that you're always supported, you're always attracting exactly where you are. And just to take the hint, don't take the bait, and continue to visualize and really put more time and effort into thinking about what it is you want to create. And then as the hiccups come and as the things to remind you and to say, hey, I'm still here, maybe you want to, deal with me now, take it at your own pace. But don't be so hard on yourself or your significant other. Everyone's doing the best they can.
And just remember, this is just a dress rehearsal. You get the attempt to go live with your show next week. So it's fine.
Okay. I just wanted to say one more thing. Krista had listened to the show and said she just listened to the episode and it was fantastic, especially the last part. She forwarded it to her husband. Thanks, guys. You two are so much fun to listen to. And then Brooke said JJ, eHarmony wasn't any better than any of the other free sites.
Amen to that.
All right. Thanks, Brooke.
JJ keeps threatening to get back on eHarmony. I'm like, that's not very good. Those words are affecting me.
They're hurting his feelings.
Stop hurting my feelings, JJ.
Thanks, Brooke. Again, it's just one of those, it's more the curiosity, the personality typing and matching that I'm curious about. And but the universe did it for me. So.
Hold on, my phone, it's Tinder. Somebody swiped.
Ha ha. All right, everyone. We'll talk to you again next week.
Bye. Love y'all.